You say I'm number one, but you were out almost 24/7. I had to say goodbye, 'cause I see you didn't have a clue. And everything you said and done was only always just about you. Someone who's kind, someone who tells the truth. See, I'm still waiting on a promise, 'cause I found this love is just about you.
In all the wrong places, looking back at emotionless faces. So many times that I thought I couldn't take this. Go around in circles for ages. Heart on my sleeve, but I guard my feelings. Search for love, trying to find the deeper meanings. No more sunshine, no light beaming. Lonely days and lonely evenings. So send me someone right, so I can finally put this loneliness and pain out aside. And when I get it, I promise that I'll keep on praying. So I'll just wait patiently right here. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Welcome to the Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest show. Thank you for joining us. We're here every Thursday at 8 p.m. And, we have some brilliant guests tonight. We have got the lovely Paul Owen and Sharon Owen. Let me just quickly check here. We've got Cara Woods and Ian Woods. We've got Lindsay Wesker. We've got Wayne Boucard. We've got Denise Dice, Julie Payne, Leanna Gibbons. We've got some beautiful guests in the house tonight. And, I'm not going to waste any time in getting to the point tonight. The topic is not in my name will the legacy of white supremacy continue? What can we do to make sure that it ends? That's the main topic for tonight. And, I'm going to play this video straight away. and then we're going to come back and we're going to discuss exactly what is going on in this department. Bear with me.
The 2020 uprisings are exposing many of the cracks in America's foundation that Black folks have always known were there. This fight is about more than police violence. It's calling for an end to white supremacy in all of its forms. White supremacy, the belief, theory, or doctrine that white people are inherently superior to people from all other racial and ethnic groups, especially Black people. But here's the thing, even if you don't believe white people are superior, white folks still benefit from the system of white supremacy in more ways than one. It goes beyond racist white men carrying tiki torches across a college campus. It's the basis for everything in this country, from slavery to policing, from the racial wealth gap to where people can live or whether or not they can vote. White supremacy even affects how students are educated, plus who and how their textbooks choose to honor people within its pages. It's not a coincidence that there are hundreds of racist Confederate monuments across the country, and that hateful legacy of white supremacy continues to this day. In this country, whiteness is valued, prioritized, and protected. Even if it appears subtle, white privilege and its advantages are very real.
The most powerful component of this unending cycle of repression that we see, as we see, for instance, African Americans pushing forward, is that this thing that I called white rage. So Black gains are therefore articulated in a national narrative as coming at the expense of whites. So the framing of zero-sum game has been an absolutely lethal and effective, weaponized tool of white supremacy to undermine the advancement of African Americans.
There's no denying the powerful hold that white supremacy has had on American society since before its founding, and now more than ever, calls for this system to be dismantled once and for all are growing, and it's no surprise that it's being met with some resistance.
I think one of the reasons why far too many whites have difficulty in even grasping the notion of white supremacy, why they personalize it in that, my family never owned slaves, or, I'm not a racist, is that they don't understand that this thing is structural. It is built into the fabric of America. It was designed to dehumanize African Americans.
As America's current racial reckoning continues, we must finally confront the systems in this nation that not only benefit white people, but actively oppress all Black people. There's a long way to go, but it's about time.
Hello. So I know the video talks about America. However, isn't it that this is a global problem? And I think I'm going to throw that question open to, let me introduce Denise to yourselves. Is it not a global problem, Denise?
Absolutely, yes, is the answer to that. It's prevalent everywhere. My day today has consisted of a conversation where someone is feeling again in 2 weeks, twice in 3 weeks. I'm having a conversation with someone that's feeling discriminated against at work and at a place of work that I would not have expected it to. And so it is a global issue. I was reading something that said there was a study published last year, and it said that Britain is one of the least racist countries in Europe. I would not like to go and see what it's like anywhere else, although I have experienced when I've been on holiday with Floyd and my children to Europe. I've experienced it in the Caribbean, but that it was a Canadian person that thought Floyd was a waiter, for instance. But my experience of racism is in England mainly, and you know, no one can say that it's not alive here. It may be, people would say it's not as bad as it is in the US, but is that true? Is that true? Is it that we just hide it better? You know, is it just not spoken? It's just not as bold and out there. Because I said last week, I've seen police brutality here. I've witnessed stabbings because I was called the N-word lover. My friend got stabbed by a white person.
Wow.
Yeah, when I was 14. So, you know, my experience is very live. It's definitely here.
Okay, Denise, I'm really sorry to hear that you had that experience. I'm going to ask you to hold it there for a second, if you don't mind. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Julie, what would you say about that video that we just watched? Oh, just 1 second. We need to get you to unmute your mic.
There you go. You've given me the power. Thank you. With all due respect, it isn't anything I haven't heard before. And I'm sure ever since the days of the freedom fighters, Rosa Parks and whoever, it's been repeated time and time again. We're saying the same thing over and over and over again. And like she said right at the end, we've come a long way, but we still got a long way to go. And at least now we're talking about it. We're having the uncomfortable conversations about it. My hope is that it seems that politicians, they just get the information, like we get all these things, sign this petition so we can get it in front of the politicians. And all the politicians do is read it and say, all right, we've acknowledged it and we'll review it in a time. But I think now social media are the politicians, if you like, and they're dictating that this change that we are in so desperate need of, they're the ones that are going to drive it. Do you know what I mean? The layman among us, because we're on the front line, and Denise is on the front line, she's suffering it. I'm on the front line, we're suffering. Our black men are on the front line, they're suffering. The politicians who are making the rules are not suffering. You understand? So, like I said, the very last thing that I caught that sort of stuck in my head, with all due respect to her, I'm not saying she was waffling on or anything, but it's just that we got a long way to go. But I feel that the train is in motion. A change is coming.
That's right. Thank you very much, Julie. Thank you. I want to throw this question to Paul. Paul, don't forget to unmute your mic. Let me just quickly give you the access to do so. 1 second. Okay, you should have the access to do so. So, Paul, have you ever witnessed or seen institutional systemic racism?
Is that a joke?
No. Serious question.
Of course, growing up, I used to see it all the time. I come from Stonebridge, Holsden. All my friends are black. We used to get pulled over by the SPG, and I was allowed to go. Yeah.
Wow.
Of course, that was regular. That was just a reg. You go on, you can go, mate, and everyone else was up against the wall. Yeah, but that's just something that's known. You don't even have to question them sort of things, and it still goes on now. When we used to go out, I was the driver on the way home. Even if it's not my car, I'm driving home. Yeah, because we ain't going to get stopped if I'm driving. It's just
right.
You know, it's just a regular thing. So whenever anything like that happened, you know, walking up Brentford Road, police pull over, drag everyone up against the wall. I'm up against the wall. Go on, you can F off, without even a search. But that happened on the regs. That weren't just a one-off thing. That used to happen all the time. Yeah, so of course you see it. But white supremacy, white superiority is through a white inferiority. They feel threatened. So they're inferior. They feel inferior. White people feel inferior to black people. So they have to come out with all this nonsense to try and level the playing field, because they know that 2/3 of the world is a black, or so that they need to do that. And they use guns and they use divide and conquer. They do it all the time. And the only way you're going to stop that is that we need to have more black politicians, more black policemen, and infiltrate the system that is causing the problem in the first place. Exactly what the other speaker was saying. You can't sit down. The politicians, they can do nothing for you because they're not down. They're not suffering. They're not doing nothing. So the only way that's going to change is by us educating the youth, black and white and Asian, educating everybody to get involved with the politics and kick out all them Ponzi people and actually do it for real. But marching up and down, to me, marching up and down has been going on for how many years now? How many rebellions in Jamaica? Never changed a thing. Because rebellion, when you have a rebellion, you have to have a change of system. And the only way to change that system is to get involved in that system.
That's right. Well, Paul, you make some valid points. But I do want to just quickly hand this over to Cara and Ian Woods. And I'm going to quickly get you to unmute your mics. Just 1 second. Bear with me.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Cara.
Yeah, really interesting listening to anything. I think the crux for me is people just actually recognising what white supremacy is, because I think everyone's made very valid points here. I think it's not just the racism by the hate groups, but I think it's that whole political, economic, cultural system where fundamentally, rightly, wrongly, whites control the power and the material and the resources. So I couldn't agree more with Paul that to effect change, people have actually got to recognise what's going on, because I think that sometimes, when the term white supremacy is used, I think people might be likening it to the Ku Klux Klan, the far right, and they're not really understanding that it's not necessarily just about these hate groups, it's about a whole system. And I totally agree with everything that's been said. I think we've got to almost decenter ourselves. We've got to actually really consider as a whole nation who's impacted here, and to Paul's point, do something active about it. I think people should feel uncomfortable. They do feel uncomfortable. They might listen actively, but to Denise's point and Paul's point, I don't always see people who are passionate not for it to be their legacy. I don't always see people speaking up for marginalised groups. I don't always see them making sure that marginalised groups have a voice. I've seen it in the corporate world myself, where just by culture, some marginalised groups might be more reticent to speak up about things. And I think it's really important that we make sure that people are listening when others are speaking as well. So for me, I just try and do what I can. But I think, to Julie's point, I think social media will absolutely help drive this, but I can't help be a little bit concerned that some social media consumption might influence views in the wrong way as well.
Absolutely. My apologies. I was agreeing with you there, Cara. I'm going to ask you to hand that over exactly where you are in regards to the media. Thank you so much. You make some very good points there, Cara. But I'm going to ask you to hand it over to your husband, Ian Woods, because that was another question I was going to throw out there. Could part of the institutional systemic racism be that the media maybe are biased, Ian?
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I think they probably are in a lot of ways. But as you said, the media is probably controlled by a handful of people, and those handful of people control that media across the whole world. It's not just here. It's that those people own the media in majority of countries. Example of that, you know, was we're talking about. Excuse me if I get things wrong. I'm just trying to put it in the way it was said to me, but the way you have sort of black versus white, and the media had put on through social media, this was as well, when all this trouble was kicking off with the Black Lives Matters and stuff, for people that didn't understand why this was happening. Of course, all the media jumps in on it and says these spurious stories come out, and they're only done by the media as well. And these groups are probably involved in getting these stories out. And one in particular that caught my eye because people were outraged about it to me was that they said they wanted to rename the White Cliffs of Dover because they were the White Cliffs of Dover.
Fake news.
But it was fake news, exactly. And that was the whole point. And even some of the press came out and said, yes, it was fake news, but you had to dig in to find that it was fake news. So people's instant reaction to that story or that headline was, why do we have to change everything? What's going on? Why is it them against us kind of attitude? And that's not right. And I think it's the media portray a lot of that. You know, I think I said it in some comments before when I haven't been on the panel, but I think the media really, really do stir up a lot of division between all cultures, nations, you know, whether it be war, you know, whether it be economics, whatever the case may be, the media play their part. And if you only read a certain media, whether you're a Sun reader or even if you read one of the good broadsheets, they will still only come from a certain point of view, you know. And
absolutely.
Just
absolutely.
quick one to finish off on that as well, is where you read a story about the media, for instance, if somebody had got a house, for instance, through the council, to stir up, the media will say it's a Muslim family that's got a house through the council, for instance, to stir up that why are these people getting houses and I'm not getting one? You know, that's a common theme that always comes up, you know, but they'll state it's a Muslim family. If it was a white family, they wouldn't say it was a white family. They would just say a family from X.
That's, you know, absolutely correct, Ian. Absolutely. I am going to thank you so much. You put that so eloquently as well. I'm going to go to, well, before I come to you, Wayne, I'm just going to quickly go to Facebook here and say hello to Beverly Brown, Everine, Trevor Campbell, Jordan Bailey, Jackie Raw, Ruby Roo, Miss Cott Patterson, and there's a few more people in the room, but I will get around to you at some point soon. But Trevor Campbell is actually saying, he's saying here, white supremacist. Just one second. Who's got their cat? Their right. Let's just quickly mute you, Ian. Okay. Trevor Campbell is saying white supremacists view black men as the greatest risk to their genetic survival. Therefore, the black male must be attacked and destroyed to ensure their genetic survival. Ruby Roo is saying the whole system is biased and by design. And Ruby also says the media plays a definite role in maintaining the status quo, sorry. And hi to you, Raymond, also. And Jackie saying, hi, guys. Okay, so Wayne, I'm going to come to you now. And, you know, I'm just going to throw this whole, what they're saying in regards to the video. What are you saying in regards to the video? Sorry, is what I'm asking you at this moment. And how do you think we can go about changing things? What things can we do to change it?
I thought about that question, and all that kind of kept coming to my mind was what black people have already been doing. I mean, you know, it's business as usual. I mean, I'll give an example. In terms of that, like the mindset of I would say black men. I remember someone made reference earlier to comparing the UK to America, and I remember some time ago there was talk about arming the police. Yeah, and I'm telling you, I know, and lots of my friends, their heart nearly skipped a beat when they heard that, because if they arm the police here, it will be another. What's going on in America? It will be exactly the same. Because I've been stopped by the police. Myself and my wife have been stopped by the police going to church, and the usual is like there's two officers. One is professional, and one is just to antagonize you. And that, I mean, so there is no difference between here and the United States. The mindset is exactly the same. For a lot of black people, there is microaggressions on a huge scale. You will never hear enough about that. So I think the onus is on white people personally, because I remember when my parents came here, and you know, they went to work, going to work and dealing with bigotry and racism. That's what it was day to day, and trying to appease the how could I put it, the I forgot, the indigenous population, so to speak, wherever they were, because I lived in Hackney, and that's what it was like. You know, I remember I have a cousin. He's like a brother to me. He's very, very close. When he was small, when he was a child, he went to nursery. His mum left him at school and nursery, and when she came back at the end of the day, she found him sitting in a pram, and his nappy was soiled. They just left him there for the day. So wow. That's the kind of stuff that they put up with, but they don't get upset. They just think, right, okay, it is what it is, and it's like that for decades, you know. So, but at the same time, you know, they're being nice to the oppressor because they don't.
You know, Wayne, can I just quickly jump in here, because Everine is agreeing with you. She's saying a lot of innocent black people will be killed if they start carrying firearms, and I think, like you say, I think a lot of black people, not just men, but especially black men, we would be in absolute fear if they started to carry arms here. So absolutely.
I just thought I'd make reference to someone's conversation. There was like comparing the USA to the UK. If they'd armed the police here, I'd be scared for my life. It's period. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I just want to quickly say that Beverly Brown on Facebook, who I would love to join the panel at some point, she's saying the media is the master puppeteer of corrupt propaganda. And once they get a response from the masses, they then manipulate our thought process by revealing whether it's true or fake news. But who allows fake news to be leaked in the first place? Ruby Roo is saying good cop, bad cop. I think she's agreeing with you here, Wayne. I agree the mindset here in the UK is the same as in the US. And hello, Di Green Eyes. Di Green Eyes is replying to Everine by saying, yep, too much trigger-happy police around. Okay, so I'm going to come to the lovely, lovely Lindsay Wesker. What do you have to say about all of this? Have I given you the unmute? No, I haven't. There you go. You should have it now.
Thank you. I am unmuted. This is good. Ruby Roo made a good point on Facebook. She was sort of talking about the power of the media, and Ian talked about the power of the media as well. I mean, in my opinion, the general election was won by the media. The Sun, the Daily Mail, the Daily Telegraph managed to portray Jeremy Corbyn as an anti-Semite and a terrorist sympathizer. And that effectively won the Tories the election, because nobody wanted to vote for an anti-Semite or a terrorist sympathizer. So that is how powerful the media are in the UK. And people have also mentioned this term status quo. I mean, status quo is like really, really important. The people with money, the people with power, obviously want absolutely nothing to change. They want to maintain that status quo, and kind of allowing working class people, allowing middle class people, allowing non-white people to sort of alter that status quo. That cannot run. You know, they are not happy about those kind of developments. So that's why you know, everything has to stay in place. The status quo has to be maintained. It was very, very, very interesting hearing Paul talk about the white mindset as well. I mean, it's absolutely true. I mean, a lot of white people are absolutely terrified of black people, and we've talked about that on this show before. What are they scared of? You know, nobody has been able to answer that question. What are white people scared of? But there are a lot of white people out there who are unbelievably intimidated by black people. Michael Holding has completely captivated the nation with a speech he made during the coverage of the test match between the West Indies and England. He gave a fantastic speech. It was only 4 minutes long. If you haven't watched this speech by Michael Holding, find it. It will be on rotation around the internet forever and ever. It was absolutely brilliant. And he gave a perfect example of what white privilege is. He said, you know, if a black guy goes into Harrods or Selfridges or some posh shop on Oxford Street, he is immediately followed by the store detective. The white person is not. And the white person might be about to rob you or commit credit card fraud, but he ain't going to be stopped by the store detective. The black guy is going to be chased all around the store until he makes his purchase and go. And that is a perfect example of the privilege that white people are afforded. So if you get a chance to see that Michael Holding speech, please watch it. It's wonderful. He talked about education, and he gave a fantastic story about Thomas Edison and the light bulb. He said, you know, in school, we're only taught that Thomas Edison created the light bulb, but the paper filament in Thomas Edison's light bulb kept burning out. The person who created the carbon filament that is now in lighting was a black guy. I forget his name, but his name will never crop up in English history lessons or physics lessons. So, you know, in terms of systemic change, you know, this is what I said last week. Paul has echoed my feelings. In order to alter things, we need systemic change. We need more black policemen, more black teachers, more black people in the House of Lords. You know, these are the people who can change things.
You know, thank you, Lindsay. Wow, that was a lot of very good statements that you made, valid points. You know, I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot going on Facebook. Just 1 second.
Lewis
Just 1
Howard
second.
Latimer. Lewis Howard Latimer. Thank you so much, Trisha Pereira.
That's right, Trisha Pereira. I'd like to say hello to you. Trisha Pereira is she says she totally agrees. Perfect speech by Michael Holding. Raymond Wright is saying, well said, Lindsay. Great point. And also, Trisha Pereira is saying, totally agree with you, Ruthie. And just 1 second, there's a lot going on. Hello, Rudy Liquid. How you doing? Hello, Jordan Bailey. Jordan says, agreed, Lindsay. Remember the Oprah Winfrey saga with the handbag? That was a perfect example. If you don't all know about that, Oprah went into a shop. The handbag cost thousands and thousands of pounds. She was followed around, and she was, I think, even told to put it back. And when she stated who she was, then all the apologies came. I think that was how that story went. Miss Cott Patterson is saying, white people are conditioned to be scared of black. They do not know why they are scared. They are just taught to be scared. That's a very good point that you make, Miss Cott Patterson. And also Trisha Pereira is saying Lewis Howard Latimer was his name. There you go. Lewis Howard Latimer was his name. And also Ruby is saying the same thing. And Trisha Pereira is also saying, absolutely, he did the carbon filament. And Rona Faye Stacey, hello, how you doing? And yes, Jordan Bailey is saying she said she couldn't afford it, so put it down. That's what they said to Oprah, not knowing who she was. Now, I just want to say, and this one is to you, Leanna. So if you want to quickly unmute while I'm asking this question. I've heard Black people saying the most craziest thing. Not all Black people, but some Black people, and I think probably the minority, to be fair. But I've heard them say, well, you know, sod it. We don't need white people. We'll do this on our own. I mean, for me, I don't know how that works personally, but it's not about my opinion today. It's about the panel's opinion. So I'm going to throw that to you, Leanna, and ask you to give me your point of view on that.
Well, thank you. That's quite a difficult question, but I
know.
I think at the end of the day, we all have to realize that this is a problem, no matter what our skin color is. If you are sitting on the sidelines silently, even if you don't agree with what's going on, if you don't actually speak up and say, no, this isn't okay, I want to be there to help solve the problem, you're contributing to it. I went to university in Deep South Mississippi in America, and the things that I saw are absolutely shocking. It rocked my world. I grew up in Las Vegas, where racism and the systemic racism wasn't there because it didn't have the history or tax problems like the rest of America has. And so I had a huge culture shock. And when I started seeing how people were being treated, how people were describing other groups of people, you have to say, I'm not okay with this. And, you know, sometimes there was a bit of a backlash. I think depending on where you stand and how you present your side of the argument, and as far as I'm concerned, there's no sides to this argument. This is a problem that needs to be solved. There shouldn't be any racism, and you really need to then figure out how to communicate with the people who are really battling you and really kind of talking down on you and adding to the problem. So this isn't everybody problem. This isn't a problem that one side can solve. This isn't something that we can really do. I think having more representation in all aspects of communities would be helpful. I mean, just to start, let alone just educating people about where their money is being spent, where it's going, how it's being used. We've talked about the media. Well, media is there to get viewership and be sensationalized because that's how they make money, because people buy ads. Well, who's sponsoring these things? Are we supporting the companies that are putting ads and supporting the words and messages coming out of these different media platforms? So this is an us problem that we all need to solve, because I certainly don't want my hard-earned money going to a company that's then later going to be supporting a media platform that's going to be putting out fake news or hate or racist comments or support something that I can't necessarily agree with. And
okay, just 1 second, Leanna. And thank you very much for those points, because they're very good points. But you know what I want to ask? What would you do, or what can you do as an individual? And I'm going to throw this open to everybody. I'm literally going to ask you all to unmute your mics in a minute. What can we all do? But right now I'm asking Leanna to change and make sure these things well, white supremacy basically is no longer, it's just done. What can you do?
Well, I think on a very personal level, I can practice what I preach, but then also I need to do the other thing, which is also preach what I practice, which is being involved in a fantastic forum like this. This is being a kind person and willing to take on harder subjects with people that have different views from me. I think a lot of people think that you can only fight by actually, not fighting, but really screaming from the rooftops. And sometimes you can make a bigger difference by being quite a calm sense of normalcy when you speak to people, and let them have the chance to not only listen to what you're saying, but you also listen to what they're saying. And that's kind of how me on a personal level is trying to help contribute to a solution.
Okay, thank you so much, Leanna. Now, I just want to quickly ask Paul, can I ask you to get Sharon for me, please? I believe, just one second. I'm going to allow you to unmute. Could you call Sharon for me? I'm going to ask everyone to unmute their mics at the moment, but I'm going to go back to Facebook because Beverly Brown is saying, I'm sorry, but I have to be honest, I agree. We don't need white people to rise from our knees. It's because of them why we're on our knees to begin with. But Beverly, I would say to you, I mean, it's difficult to try and change our own behavioral patterns. And if that is the case for us to, there's a thing called cognitive behavior. And if it's difficult for us to change that for ourselves, then how would we then change white people's cognitive behavior that is learnt and being taught to them for all these 500 years? I can't see how we don't need white people to also change and be a part of the cause. That's my thing to you. I don't know what else the panel have to say to that, but can the panel all unmute? I'm just going to read a few other things. Beverly Brown also says, until black people come together and bring something to the table, we will always be disrespected. Then and only then, when we have healed and built, then we can reopen the doors. Everine is saying, and replying to Beverly, saying, B, in order to do that, we will have to own hospitals, police force, schools, fire brigades, doctors, nurses, solicitors, everything. We need each other, I think. Hello, Gary Jordan. Also, I want to say hello to Tracy J. Morris. So what does everyone else on the panel have to say to Beverly Brown? Because she says she doesn't believe we need white people.
Samantha?
Yes.
So the thing is, I mean, I'm talking from my own personal experience and my peers. See, I can understand that sentiment, and a lot of time it's frustration. For example, years ago, I was involved in making music, and I know many other musicians that were involved in making music in the 80s and 90s, and not getting a look in for and not being signed for because they found that someone that happens to be white that happens to sing black. Do you know what I mean? And that has been a thing for decades. I could use that as an example. So you go through something like that. You go through something like that in terms of the workplace. You look at the curriculum in schools. I don't know what the curriculum now is in schools for history. Lindsay made reference to Michael Holding. Was it Michael Holding, right? Yeah. And you need to listen to that. And Lindsay was right. You really need to listen to that to understand the mindset of just normal black people. A lot of it is frustration. It's not wanting to go away and do our own thing. We sometimes feel like that. And I think a lot of black people feel like that. And not necessarily want to kind of separate and do our own thing. But a lot of it is frustration, because I don't really think that the general public understand the mindset of a normal black person. Because sometimes some black people go have microaggressions every single day. and they're going through it. And not all of us are martyrs. And that's another thing as well. Not all of us are martyrs. I'm here speaking. You know, I have my own radio show. And the reason why I had my radio show was I wasn't hearing the music that I bought. Do you know what I mean? You know, and a lot of the top DJs are white. I mean, I'll give you an example. I'm a huge fan of Robert Elms. I love his show. His show is quite eclectic. But I said to myself, one day I want to have a show like that. And but I wasn't really a fan of. He's a fan of black music, and but I'm not necessarily a fan of his taste. So I thought, right, I'm going to have something like that, you know. But it's very it's a frustration rather than a need.
Okay. I'm so sorry to cut in there, Wayne. It's just we're getting to the point where we're going to literally take a break soon. So bear with me. I want to say a hello to Kate Cardenas. I hope I've pronounced your name correctly. Just 1 second. I want to go back a bit though. Jordan, hello, Jacqueline Bryan. Jordan Bailey is saying, what is not helping right now is the BLM movement opening up the radical section wanting no more prisons, etc., and other views that are quite honestly ridiculous. This is watering down what we are trying to build. And Jackie Raw is saying, the thing is not all white people. I love my black friends and we support each other. Also, some black friends have a white parent. And Kate Cardenas, I really hope I'm saying your name correctly, is saying white people need to be vocal about racism.
Yeah.
We need to educate ourselves, challenge the unconscious bias that many may not even be aware of then. And this is important. Demand for the government to implement education on the points from young. It's going to take time to change this, unfortunately. White people need to accept they've been lied to about their superiority and sit in their uncomfortableness. You make a very valid point, Kate. Please remember, if you are in the audience and you want to have your say and be seen and heard, just drop a line in the text in the chat, and I will give you the link to Zoom. You can jump on, have your say, and you can jump off again. But right about now, I think we are going to take a commercial break. It's going to be roughly about just under 7 minutes. Please stay tuned because there's some very good services that you may be interested in. We will be back. As for the panelists, please all mute your microphones right about now. Hi, join me, Samantha Scott, every Thursday at 8 p.m. for the Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest show. We discuss some serious topics here which may be a little uncomfortable to discuss. However, the aim of the show is educational. It is interactive. You can join us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live via chat. You can also let us know that you want to join on the panel and be seen and heard. We look forward to seeing you every Thursday at 8 p.m. here for the Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest show.
What do the new power generation, Rochelle Farrell, and Mint Condition all have in common? They've all been guests on the Wayne Picard radio show Black in 3D on k2kradio.com, London and worldwide. If you want to check out my Listen Again page, go on to mixcloud.com/Black in 3D. The coolest show on the planet, the Wayne Picard radio show Black in 3D. Peace.
Hi, my name's Claudette and I make jewellery for Jamela Gems. I make jewellery using semi-precious stones and sterling silver. You can find Jamela Gems on Facebook, Etsy and Twitter. Come and look me up. Jamela Gems. I make jewellery with your well-being in mind.
Oi, oi! Join me, Rudy Liquid, for Rudy Liquid's early morning bants. Bright and early in the morning at 8:15 when the kids have gone to school and you ain't got nothing much to do. Why not tune into me live? I've got a show that's driven by early morning comments from you. All of them are topical in nature. We have some lively banter. I had a few clips by going into your Facebook profiles and coming back with bits and pieces like this. And this. maybe even a bit of this. So that's early in the morning at 8:15 a.m. We do that alongside some serious debate. Okay, I also have a show on a Monday evening. It's called Keeping It Real. Oi, 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 as it is titled upstairs. Keeping It Real with Rudy Liquid. It's a chat show that I do on a Monday evening at 8:30 p.m. So tune in.
Hello, my name is Lindsay Wesker and I am a writer. I've written 3 novels, and as I've been in the music industry since 1981, it won't surprise you to know that all of my novels are based in the music industry. All 3 novels are available now via Amazon, and I hope you'll buy one and enjoy it.
Mo Soul Sensation.
All I'm asking is for a little respect when you get home.
Bringing you the sounds to make you feel good. Lead singers from the West End stage.
I got sunshine on a cloudy day. When it's cold outside, I got the month of
Outstanding
May.
voices and exceptional choreography.
Stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Stop in the name of love. Ain't no stopping us now.
Mo Soul Sensation.
Moving, grooving, moving, grooving.
Book now. The mind-blowing Mo Soul Sensation.
Greetings, my name is Erica and welcome to Pempamsi Lucium. Here at Pempamsi, we offer a wide range of natural hair and skin products like castor oil to help moisturize and strengthen your hair, things like Cantu and Shea Moisture, natural toothpaste without fluoride, natural deodorants, and many more. We also have various supplements and herbs to help you with cleansing your system. We also have natural body butters, including shea butter and cocoa butter, and natural soaps like black soap.
What's really good about the staff here is that they, can talk about your skin, your textures and your tones in your skin and what's really good for your T-zones and everything like that. The community obviously was missing this, do you know what I mean? So it's really, really good to have this in the community and so local. Yeah, I'm just really, really happy with it.
Hello, I'm Charlene. Since I've been working in the store, I've had a lot of feedback from customers speaking specifically about the fact that they enjoy being able to come to a black-owned business in the Lewisham community. People are happy to be able to purchase their herbs here, like the sea moss and other herbs, as you can see.
Hi, my name is Basil Links, and I'd just like to let you all know that Pempamsi have opened a new branch in the southeast of London in Lewisham. It's at Lehigh Road, and it's here to service all of the people that have historically had to travel all the way to Brixton to get their natural health and hair care products. We're open 7 days a week. I'm really excited about this development because we're going to be meeting people that have never met us, but it gives us an opportunity to add more value to the local Lewisham community. There's a fantastic team here with years of experience, and we're also opening a consultation room, which means that we'll be able to really help you and drill down into any of your health issues. So please look us up, check us out, and we look forward to serving the Lewisham and the broader community.
Hi, join me every Thursday at 8 p.m. for the Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest show. It's interactive, Don't forget, join us every Thursday for the Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest show at 8 p.m. Hi, and welcome back after the commercial break. Okay, so I want to say hello to Beverly Pizer, Swaby Irie, Kevin Leo, Mike McKenzie. Now, I just want to quickly say that Beverly is saying, bear with me, she has come back and she's saying, I stand by what I've said, but to be clear, I'm not saying exclude all else indefinitely, just until we have something to show for ourselves, like everyone else. And that won't happen unless we come together. And we can do that if we can't do that, if we keep allowing ourselves to be infiltrated. And I do understand what you mean, Beverly Brown, and you are looking at just one component. That is one side of it. But then we need people to change their mindsets? Don't we need white people to change their mindsets? We cannot do that ourselves. So we do need white people to fight this cause. That's the angle I'm coming from. And I also stand by what I'm saying, because I cannot see how it will work any other way. There are always going to be different components. You know, if you go to war, they're going to have different strategies. You can't just go to war with one strategy, if you understand my meaning. So can everybody unmute themselves, please? Because I'm gonna play a video. Oh, sorry, Ruby Roo is just coming in on Facebook and she's saying, I think that's the wrong question. If we are here and use any of the facilities provided by the ruling class, then we will need whoever provides it. As Everine said, when we have established our own banks, schools, hospitals, etc., then we may not need them. But the issue is not who needs whom; it's who needs to keep black people on the bottom. Okay, so hello Fiona, how are you doing, Fiona Colhoun? Right, so I'm going to play this next video, and it's to do with July the 4th. And I've got to say, this will kick off another part of the discussion, I'm sure, because I mean, this man who was a slave all those years ago, he did not mince his words in any uncertain terms at all. Let's play what he has to say.
Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass, once a slave, became a brilliant and powerful leader of the anti-slavery movement. In 1852, he was asked to speak in celebration of the 4th of July.
Fellow citizens, pardon me, and allow me to ask, why am I called upon to speak here today? What have I, or those I represent, to do with your national independence? Are the great principles of political freedom and of natural justice embodied in that Declaration of Independence extended to us? And am I, therefore, called upon to bring our humble offering to the national altar and to confess their benefits and express devout gratitude for the blessings resulting from your independence to us? I am not included within the pale of this glorious anniversary. Your high independence only reveals the immeasurable distance between us. The blessings in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. To drag a man in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join you in joyous anthems were inhuman mockery and sacrilegious irony. Do you mean, citizens, to mock me by asking me to speak today? What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days of the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is a constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty, an unholy license. Your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciation of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes that would disgrace a nation of savages. There's not a nation of the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. At a time like this, scorching irony, not convincing argument, is needed. Oh, had I the ability and could reach the nation's ear, I would today pour forth a stream, a fiery stream of biting ridicule, blasting reproach, withering sarcasm, and stern rebuke. For it is not light that is needed, but fire. It is not the gentle shower, but thunder. We need the storm, the whirlwind, the earthquake. The feeling of the nation must be quickened. The conscience of the nation must be roused. The propriety of the nation must be startled. The hypocrisy of the nation must be exposed, and the crimes against God and man must be proclaimed and denounced.
I'd like to say hello to Terry Jones, Cutty Williams, Keith Dice, and Harold Appiah. Okay, so I mean that is so, the way he came across for those days, as we know, we were not allowed to learn to read and write. So for him to be able to come over so eloquently, wow. Julie, I'm coming to you on that, and everybody else, please unmute your mics. Have I not done it, Jules? I'm so sorry. 1 second. Okay, let's go to Ian and Cara on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just really underpins everything that we're saying. Very powerful speech. And I think it's this whole thing that everyone's saying, that everyone needs to recognize everything that has been done. So obviously I'm not Black, you know, I don't understand, I haven't walked your journey. My father experienced something very similar. Funny enough, I think it's Wayne, my dad came over to Hackney in the 50s as an Irish young man, and basically got treated despicably because he was Irish. And what my dad said is the only thing that changed for him was that everyone coming together. And I think the point I got out of that speech, which was very powerful and actually made me feel quite emotional, is that I kind of get where Beverly's coming from, but I think unless everyone does it together, I just don't see how things are going to change, because we do have other minorities, such as the Jewish community, you know, the Islamic community, that have actually got their own banks, got their own medical, got their own hospital, but quite frankly, I still don't see that they have a major seat in the ruling class. They don't have a major seat at the political table. But I think for me, you asked earlier, Sam, you know, what will you do differently? I think what I will do differently now is that I won't feel like I haven't got a voice because I'm not Black. Because to be honest, how I felt in the past is I shouldn't be allowed to have a voice almost, because how on earth could I understand the journey? So who was I to say anything? Whereas now I've done a total 360 and I thought, no, actually, I'm going to have a voice. I need to have a voice. I need to speak up. I think, like Denise was saying, if I see inequality, I shouldn't sit on the sidelines and think in my head, oh God, that's really terrible. I actually need to be there saying, this is not right. This cannot happen.
I'm so sorry to stop your flow, but someone online is absolutely agreeing with you. Everine is saying no dogs, no Irish, no Blacks comes to mind when you're speaking.
So I just think that, I think what that very eloquent, you know, slave guy was saying about the 4th of July is, don't celebrate independence because there is no such thing as independence yet. We haven't got equality. So please don't celebrate it in my name. And I think that my personal opinion is I totally respect what where Beverly's coming from. I think, you know, it was muted as frustration, and I get that. But I genuinely think the only way that this can really move forward is for those of us who probably not even consciously do have white privilege. We need to make sure that privilege isn't white anymore.
Well said. Well said. Okay, I want to come to you, Paul. You need to unmute yourself. My apologies. It's my fault.
Yes. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, darling. When we're talking about this sort of thing, this goes on from time immemorial. Yeah, Frederick Douglass was the man day, and you had W.E.D. Bois, who was the Martin Luther King. So my point on it is, I agree with Beverly. I don't think we should get too many white people involved in it because they complicate them. It just complicates because they speak on terms that they think is the right say, and they try to supplicate and be good and in what they're saying, and they've got good intentions, but they're not feeling the problem. So it should be a case where Black people should get together and deal with it properly in their way. Yeah, because too many of us white people, I mean, I grew up in it. I have a good feeling of what went on and what goes on. But there's a lot of people that jump on it and just say, yeah, that's wrong, but they don't really understand. They've never felt it. They've never seen it. And I do believe that Beverly's right in the sense that too many white people in it will milk it down, man. You know, you got a cup of black coffee, put too much milk in it, man, it turns back white again. You know? And I actually do believe that. I believe that, like, even me being this now, I don't think I'm a little bit embarrassed in the sense that I don't think I should be telling Black people what to do. Even though I felt it and I know my bedroom, my friends all feel that, I don't think I should be in there really. I would support 100%, but I don't think I should be something to, you understand?
Paul, I understand what you're saying to a certain degree. However, what I would say is that you have every right to sit down here because the whole point of this is to get different people's views and opinions and to discuss and educate and understand each other and then, you know, hopefully be able to move forward on that. But Paul, I know you've got a lot more to say, but we are running out on this section and I was meant to go to Julie. So I'm going to go to Julie right now.
Thanks. Am I unmuted?
You
Can
are.
you hear me? Okay. Hi, everyone. Paul and Cara made some really valid points. And I hear what Beverly is saying. I don't believe it's just coming out of frustration. It's ambitious to a certain degree because like Cara pointed out, there are other communities that can come together and do come together and work together and achieve together.
And minorities.
And and they are minority groups as well. But we as Black people, we're still, we're getting there. I think, like I said, things are happening, times are changing, but we're still fighting one another. We're still, we're very, we're just not support. And the thing is, I think the people that Beverly is referring to, it's not all of them. Some of those white people, if you like, or non-Black people, they're very supportive of us. Yes, maybe Paul is right that, too many of them might complicate it, and because they don't feel it. Paul seems like he's had, through his friendships and relationships with Black people growing up, he's seen it firsthand. So he knows. So you can give him that due respect that he'll never know. It's not that he'll never. It's not that he'll never know. Sorry, someone going mad in the kitchen. It's not that he'll never know what it feels like just because he isn't Black. He's been in and amongst Black people all his life, it would seem, and I think he has a valid point to make because he has seen it firsthand. So, Beverly, I hear where you're coming from, but I think we should still be able to come together, Black, white, brown, pink, yellow, and work together to affect change. You understand? And Black people, amongst fewer selves, we need to come together more and stop fighting one another. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I quickly jump in?
Okay. Can I just quickly say? Not right now, Herbie. Sorry, darling. Can I just quickly say a hello to Jack and also hello to Terry Jones. Just one second. Who else? Right. So Beverly Brown is saying it's almost like I can hear Beverly going, ah. She says, thank you, Paul. Exactly what I'm trying to convey. Terry Jones says, Paul, we need you in it, bro. And Everine is saying, we need more Black people who actually care. So many of us, but so few. And, Jordan Bailey is saying exactly, Jules. I've got to say, we are moving on now. But I do want to say, look, how I'm going to summarize this is it's good to talk. It's good to talk because you get things out there in the open. It gets people thinking. And when it gets people thinking, including ourselves, things start changing. And what we need change one way or the other. So, just to go on to open to any other business, as it were, I just want to quickly come to this bit of it. Just one second. The thing is that what I don't understand, guys, is we are moving on now. What I don't understand is there was a big hoo-ha about the block parties, and please understand, I do not by any means at all condone the block parties. It's out of order. However, what we just saw there was what they now called Super Saturday. Was that not pretty much like a block party? Can you unmute yourselves? Who wants to come in on that?
Sam, listen, back in the day, if that was going on and I've been locked up for 3 months, right, I'd be going to that block party. If I was that age, yeah?
Understood.
I don't condone it because you're not thinking, but if you're 15, 16, coming up to 22 or whatever age you are, and you hear music and you ain't heard music for 3 months, I'd be going down there. Because
I completely understand, Paul, but my point is, look, that was a lot of people.
Yeah, but here.
I'm talking about for Super Saturday now. That was a lot of people that was allowed to be in numbers and numbers, and nobody stopped them because it was Super Saturday. However, just last week, when there were block parties, the police stepped in. I don't understand, is what I'm saying. I'm going to throw that open to everybody else also.
627 people have died of coronavirus in the last 7 days.
Yes.
You know, Super Saturday shouldn't have existed. The easing up is an absolute nonsense. It's just going to create wave after wave. Our borders are still open. We're allowing thousands of people every day to just come into the UK through customs, straight onto the underground, straight into the centre of London.
No.
The situation is not under control. It's very, very out of control.
I think, can I say something? I think the thing with the block parties versus the Super Saturdays, there's you know, again, I think it's media reporting. Somebody mentioned the biased way that the media report the news, and so you know, there was nothing inflammatory or aggressive or anything said about the Super Saturday parties, but yeah, people running down to the beach and you know, flocking out and whatever. But Brixton has a history. And the police apparently on intelligence. Oh yeah, we've received intelligence. But for me, going to Brixton heavy-handed and in that mob fashion wasn't intelligent. You know you're going to antagonize the youth. That's exactly what needs to happen. So that you've got used to go and get your riot shields and all this sort of, you know what I mean? It would have been better if they, in advance, if they received the intelligence, approach the community leaders. You know what I mean? Some of the elders in the community who know how to speak to these. Paul's right. Black, white, brown, pink, whatever, the youths have not that they've not taken it seriously, but they almost seem like they're invincible, believe they're invincible when it comes to the whole virus thing, and they haven't observed the rules. And so any opportunity to get out there and just chill and relax, they're gonna jump at it. I think the police, they must have known the reaction, the reaction that they would get going in there heavy-handed the way they did.
And why didn't they go in heavy-handed into Soho? If they had gone in heavy-handed into Soho, they probably would have got the same, you know, conflict. They would have got the same reaction. But the media want us to see that, oh no, it's only black people that will react to violence and aggression like that. White people don't react to violence and aggression.
Yeah, the media have a lot to answer for in the way that they steer us to believe what is.
To be fair to the police, right, the way they've done the Church Road thing, they just locked it off, just didn't allow any more people to come in, and they weren't very heavy-handed in the Church Road, yeah, and that's the way you deal with it. Of course, the problem with the Metropolitan Police is there's a lot of, well, the majority. My oldest daughter is a Metropolitan Police officer. I forced her, not forced, I encouraged her to go in that, because that's what we need to do, right? And she has said on numerous occasions how the police officers that are in the Metropolitan don't come from London. They don't know how to talk to people. They come from the outskirts of London, and they come in and they hear a black person talking, and they think you're aggressive. And my daughter said that to me. The person's not being aggressive. It's just how he was speaking, you know? And that's the problem with the Metropolitan Police, is because they're recruiting from Surrey, from all over the place. And it's our problem. We should have been police officers. We should have in our day. I mean, even my daughter said to me the other day, Paul, Dad, you know, you need to go and be a policeman. I said, I'm 53 years of age. And she said, no, but we still need people that and I use the wrong word, infiltrate, and show them how you need to deal with people, because they don't know. They're young kids from Surrey or from Suffolk, remember where they come from, and that's how it works.
Can I just quickly go back to Facebook? Because, hello, Dawn Thomas. Dawn Thomas is saying the government want more people to die. Wow. Do you think that's a part of it?
There is that theory going around.
Wow. Okay. And just 1 second. Sorry. Dorrit Brown is saying, I am so pleased to hear everyone's views, as it gives us all food for thought. We all need to talk, build and understand, because a lot of white people don't want to acknowledge the pain black people are going through, as it's painful for them, along with the guilt some feel. Lessons and teaching will help us all. And Carol Le Purple Pince, she says, they were complaining about black people protesting, and then pubs are opening. The hypocrisy. And Kate Cardenas says, exactly, Lindsay. Everine says, Jesus. Another lockdown looks inevitable. And Jordan Bailey is saying, yes, Paul. You know, I mean, these are really difficult things to actually discuss. And I do appreciate each and every one of you on this panel for coming and giving your points of view. I do want to move on now. I just want to say, now that we've gone through this pandemic, guys, do you know, would you not say it's about time that we make changes and allow some people to work from home? You know, it'll be a lot easier for a lot of people, and it will free up some time and allow more family time and allow parents to be home with their kids and actually be able to keep them on the straight and narrow. What do you reckon?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yes, 100% agree.
I think that it will happen. I don't think it will be based on mental well-being. I think it would be based on economic gain for a lot of companies, because I think that, you know, they won't have the overheads of premises. You know, they can get people working from home. I think that it's great, but I have a slightly contra thing to offer as well, that I think if they insist that a lot of people work from home, I do have a slight concern about mental health well-being for some people as well, because I think some people actually like a combination of maybe go into an office and, you know, mix a bit more. And I've known of a lot of people that have suffered quite a lot throughout the lockdown, maybe because they haven't been able to see so many people, but they haven't been able to segregate sort of work life from home life so easily. So I think working from home is fabulous, but I think it has to be in a way that suits everyone, you know.
Okay.
Myself working from home, I've got to say, my working day has become more intense, more relentless, and more is expected of me working from home. I'm genuinely working from about 5 a.m. till 7 p.m. I'm not moaning, because I've got a job and I'm grateful, but I think if they move to working from home, it has to be in a way that is healthy for everyone.
Absolutely. You know, I'm going to quickly ask you, Ian, because Ian here, he works for the NHS, and I want to applaud you, Ian. What I want to ask, or what I want to say, is this. It's all good and well. I think I touched on this last week. It's all good and well, everyone coming out and clapping for the key workers. But my thing is come on, we've got to give you guys a pay rise. That's what they really need to do. You don't put people out in the front line on a war without without this is another thing I want to cover as well. Without weapons, they didn't give you guys a proper PPE even. You know, we need to start looking after our key workers. In fact, this government just needs to start looking after its people, period. Ian, what do you say? How was it for you?
Firstly, I'll say, obviously, any views I say are my own because
Of course.
I work for the NHS. These are my own views. If I say them, they're nothing to do with my employer. At the end
of course.
Yeah, look, for me personally, I didn't have any issues with PPE, so I can't come in it from that point of view and say that I had any issues. The issues we may have had was when certain PPE should have been used, or when it came in, when it, you know, those sort of issues. But as you said, with everything that's gone on at the moment, I think there's so much mental health now coming out of this because of the fear of it. And again, you know, we just go back to the media. The media will only portray a certain part of you know, that for instance, the young ones. Everybody said, you know, all the youngsters go out and they enjoy themselves and stuff, because the media generally have portrayed that if you're a certain age, you can't catch the virus, or you're very likely to get the virus, which on the whole has tended to be the case. But it's now been shown that up to 80% of people have actually been able to have either had it or could be a carrier of the virus without any symptoms. I myself believe I've had coronavirus. I had all the symptoms that you could have asked for. I had the continuous cough, the headaches, the temperatures, everything you can think of. Yet I've had my antibody test and it came back negative. So things aren't 100%, you know. So it's trying not to scaremonger things, you know. And this, again, you know, media, social media in particular, it's the scaremongering, and of course then you get the conspiracy theories of it's 5G and it's all these other things that come in. At the end of the day, it's a virus. It's like it's a flu virus. The difference is we don't have any vaccinations, and we don't know if it's only particularly one type of strain of virus out there. There could be many strains of the virus, which is why maybe it affects certain people in different ethnic minorities as well. You know, that's the big thing that's...
You know, can I just interrupt you there? Because I just want to quickly say next week's show is going to be about basically exactly that, Ian. Why do we believe it is affecting Black people or ethnic minority people more than our counterparts? But that's for next week. I just want to quickly say that, whoa, hello, Delroy Dyer. Hello to Russell Norris. And I just want to quickly say that Di Green Eyes is saying, Ian, and this is a very good one, Diane, do you know why the police do not wear PPE? Or does anybody know?
No, I mean, to be fair, the ones I see are wearing some PPE, but whether they wear it when they're out on their normal day, obviously I can't answer that because I'm not really that involved or see that many of them. But the ones I see that are bringing people to the hospital, they do have PPE, so they wear the face masks and stuff. So I can only say from my own point of view there. But I understand when you see the television, you very rarely see anybody with...
Yeah, no, Ian, I've got to say, I mean, even a couple of weeks ago when I had a live distancing show, which I do sometimes outside on a Sunday when the weather's permitting, 10 policemen came down because of the block party situations. Don't worry, they sanctioned the show, by the way. But none of them had PPE on. And the other thing is that they didn't socially distance either, because they were within my personal space. So, I mean, and don't get me wrong, they were really friendly, One of them were even good looking, but you know.
But Sam, I think as well, when you say it comes back to politics and ruling class and power, I'm a governor for an ambulance service as well. And the biggest frustration they have, and I think it's coming to what Paul was saying about people out of regions don't necessarily understand, like, you know, regional differences, that basically the ambulance service are governed by central government and the public health authority, you know, and they're sending down lots of rules and regs that are changing consistently. They're very confusing, but they're bound by them, even if they know that it won't actually work for their jurisdiction or their area. They have to follow what they're told, and it doesn't make sense, you know. So
it's not a one size fits all.
It's not one size fits all.
That's general
you know.
life, though. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's not a one size fits all. And
You know,
I'm so sorry. I'm just 1 second. Thank you very much for your points. Thank you. But I really want to quickly go on to Leanne and then Denise and Lindsay, because we've not heard from you all for a while. And I also want to say we're going to go for a very quick ad break, probably about 4 minutes at the most. And then we're going to probably continue for about another 15 minutes or so. And we're going to come to a close. So let's see. What have you got to say here, Leanne?
Well, for the most part, I think it's really interesting how everyone reacted to the Lifton lockdown, because I feel like there's a good majority of people that rejoiced and are now really enjoying the fact that they have an ability to go out and socialize a bit more, where I feel like there's also a good majority of people that are also becoming more reclusive, because now they're almost scared to even do their daily tasks, because they no longer feel safe going to the grocery store, because everyone's not, you know, self-isolating anymore. There are people out there socializing. So, and I kind of have a mixed feeling about it, because now to even go out and socialize, you often have to put deposits on reservations. You have to give your home address. You have to give your telephone number. You have to give your email address, which from a health standpoint, I'm fine doing. But from a GDPR standpoint, I don't know what those people are doing with my information. And I don't know if they have the type of training to protect my information as necessary. And I think that is one of my concerns. I'm worried about the virus, yes, but I'm also worried about my safety. I mean, you know, I can see, you know, there's a lot of unsavory people in the world that can easily get their hands on this information, let alone, you know, when you register at a bar, is the bartender safe and honest? Do these people now have my address? If they know I'm a regular, they now know that I'm not going to be at home on a Friday evening at this time. Who did they tell? Did they share my information? So that's a bit of fear that is not virus related, but is sprung up, and I think you're giving a lot of people unease. So that's
some very, very, very good points there, Leanne. I just want to quickly come to Lindsay.
Yeah, I've got kind of so many points to pick up on, really. It was interesting to hear Cara talk about mental health and working from home. I mean, I think it's such an interesting thing. I mean, we have been stuck at home. Some of us have been working from home. I think all of us have suffered from mental health issues over these past 3 months. I mean, whether we want to admit it or not, I think the lockdown has affected us all. But I've got a friend down in Kent who had a very civilized, he works for a very, very civilized company. And they actually polled all of their employees and asked them, how do you want to work in the future? And they were allowed to kind of say, well, I'd like to work X amount of days at home, X amount of days in the office. And that's how it's going to work from now on in their company, which I think is absolutely wonderful. It sounds a very civilized solution. Just coming back to the point that Jules keeps making about she feels a change is coming, and that I definitely feel a change is coming. My favorite story on Twitter today was the American Supreme Court finally deciding that large parts of Oklahoma actually belong to the Indian reservation.
Wow. Brilliant.
And no kidding, people, no kidding. I think if you look a little closer, you'll probably discover the whole of America belongs to somebody else other than the Americans. So, you know, that is definitely a start. Hooray, we're very happy for that. Let's hope the Supreme Court recognize some other parts of America belonging to the Native Americans. And Sam, I know you don't want to go back to Beverly's point, but can I quickly go back to Beverly's point?
Of course you can.
In strict economic terms, Beverly Brown, no, you do not need white people. I teach at a school called the Point Blank Music School. I'm teaching music industry. And one of the theories that we're teaching the students is this fantastic theory by a guy called Kevin Kelly, who proposed the 1,000 true fans theory. And what he suggested was, if you can identify 1,000 true fans, you actually don't need to be part of the music industry. If you can find 1,000 true fans that will buy your music, come to your concerts, buy your merchandise, buy your DVDs, whatever, you can actually exist without being part of the mainstream. So if Beverly wants to run a business, she can. And if she can find 1,000 true clients, she can create her own micro economy, and she won't have to deal with white people.
Interesting. Interesting. I do want to say a hello to Jason Thompson, and also I wanted to find there was a very interesting comment. Right, Herbie Lewis, how you doing? Herbie Lewis says workplace provided PPE. Low incomes do not really work from home. Cleaners, transport, builders, me. I'm afraid only the privileged we can work from home, i.e. bosses, supervisors, or people or a higher salary. Hello, Gary B. Poole. Let's just quickly see if there's anything else. Okay, so Jackie Raw Lindsay is saying, love that, Lindsay, good for Native Americans. Now, I want to say we're coming to a close. Is there anything else, maybe Denise or Wayne, that you want to throw up that's happened during the week that we can quickly discuss before I go to the ads and come to a close?
Can I just say something? Is it Cara?
Yes.
Yeah, they work. Is it the ambulance service, or they work in the front line?
So Ian's actually in the front line, and I'm a governor for the ambulance service.
Yeah, it's just an observation. I mean, I watched the press conferences, and you know, they're coming out with all these initiatives, and the chancellor's come out with initiative for 50% off food or something like that at a restaurant to make everyone happy. But every now and again I'll sit there and I think, well, what about the frontline workers? What about the nurses? What about the ambulance? You know, the people that are saving all of us. Yeah. I've not heard anything. I mean, have I missed something? I just want to throw that out there, because it's frustrating when I see these press conferences and they very rarely mention you guys. They thank you and they applaud you, but after a while you just want to think, well, are they going to remunerate them? Are they going to increase the salary?
No,
I've not heard anything.
No, because there won't probably be any increase. That's why, and I think it's understanding that a lot of the frontline staff are on just barely minimum wage anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's this misnomer that people get paid a lot. You don't, do you, love?
Because I just think I don't hear enough about the public being in support of you. And it's an unconditional support and an appreciation. And we can appreciate you from afar by applauding you, but at the end of the day, we believe that your salary should be increased. I would say
rewarded for putting their lives on the line, basically.
And it's really frustrating. I listen to these press conferences and they come out with all these other initiatives to reward others except for you. And I just want to, I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but it just drives me potty. And I don't even work in the front line. You know what I mean?
The way they reward.
Denise, can I just quickly hear from you, because I've not heard from you for a while. Sorry, Paul. I'm just sorry, just for a sec.
So I just want to come back to the whole working from home thing. So there's something interesting that I listened to. I watched a video that John Amici made for CIBD, I think it is. So he said, you know, we're not working from home. This isn't working from home. We're in a pandemic, and we've been aggressively forced to remote work and do whatever we can. So going forward after the pandemic, you know, and I'm totally with you on mental health. I tried so hard to help people and help myself, and it's a really important issue, mental well-being. But going forward after the pandemic, I think it's going to be more of a case of choosing to actually really work from home. And how John Amici put it is, when we're not working from home is when you have an Amazon delivery to pick up, you know, and you're going to be working from home for the day. What we're doing is not, it's a false environment. It's not how it would be going forwards, you know. So there is the element of a bad impact on mental health working from home, but I don't in this environment, but I don't think going forward it will be, because we won't be in lockdown. We will be able to go out still. We will be able to have face-to-face meetings if we need to. So it will be very different, but I do think that it will, if companies do, you know, take this opportunity and allow more agile working and more people to work from home, it's going to enrich the family units, and it's going to, and I hear what you're saying, Herbie, that it is, you know, the lower paid workers, the manual workers can't really work from home, like, but you know, skilled workers, manual skilled workers can't work from home, so that is going to be difficult. But for people that can work from home, it's going to give parents, families an opportunity to bond more, an opportunity to educate their children more, an opportunity for your home life to be more of an influence on your children, I think. So I think that it taking, you know, trying to sort of wrap your arms around it that way and taking the positive from it that way is a good way to look at it.
Thank you very much for that, Denise. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, I just want to say hello to Errol Reed. And Everine makes a point, which is a very good point. And this is in regards to the probability that they will not give a pay rise to the key workers. And Everine is saying it's a damn shame. They needed an increase from when Jesus was a child, meaning a long time ago. And on that note, I'm gonna come to a close. But my whole thing in regards to, hello Rex, you've just joined us, but we're literally coming to an end. I want to say, look, at the end of the day, protesting has its place. Everything that's happening right now, it has its place. However, discussion like we're doing also has its place. And I believe that this is very, very educational for me, for the panelists, for those who are watching. It gives different perspectives. I've learned quite a bit since I've been doing these chat shows. I've learned from Denise that actually it's not easier for a black woman or a black man to grow up a black child or a mixed culture child, because, you know, the white person's voice is heard a lot louder than the black person's voice. I learned last week that, you know, we could take the government to court via class action, which means that they would have to stand and answer to things like reparations, and also why did a part of all taxpayers' money go towards, you know, the slave traders. They would have to answer to things like that. You know, I've learned a lot, and I'm hoping that everyone watching this show is learning a lot. Today, I think it's this discussion has enforced that I believe we all need to work together, and that you know, talking really, really does help. I'm not quite sure that it's any one thing that is going to help this cause. It's an amalgamation of things and many different components. And I just want to say, you know, is there anything that anyone wants to, and you're going to have to be real quick because I'm going to take the first person who puts their hand up. Is there anybody
Just
else that
quick,
wants to say
just
one last
quick.
thing? You're go on then, Lindsay.
Just quick, Sam. We've got a comment on YouTube.
Oh, wow. That's the first time. What's the comment?
Well, a young man called Jerry Rawlings has said, what do you guys think about the allegations surrounding Tim Westwood's inappropriate relationships with young girls?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Another show.
Jerry,
That is
Jerry,
another
that
show. That's another show, man.
Another show. Can I just say quickly, Sam?
Yeah.
I think what you were saying, a lot of things have their place. I think we have to start by unpicking all the history that's been taught to us, because it's yeah, you know, there's a couple of reggae songs that you know that says
Christopher Columbus was a damn blasted liar is one of them, isn't it?
I didn't know the I didn't think we could say that, but
Well, the thing is that we are now after watershed, and that's quite a light term.
So that's where I think it starts. And just to quickly touch on Dee's point, Denise made some points about people working at home and allowing us to bond and all that sort of thing. And they all live happily ever after. Not really. I think some people are stuck at home, and that is how they view it. I'm stuck at home. Others are happy to be at home. Others can work from home. But yeah, and you know, Herbie is one of those who's continued to work. Cara said herself that she's working longer hours, you know, up at 5, going through till 7.
I'm working longer hours. I am, but I think that we can find a better balance, a better work-life balance after this. That was my point.
But I think as well, I think for me, who's coming from a school background, some of those kids, they come to school to be fed and watered and parented.
Yes.
And what home is probably just a place where they sleep, but they need to be in school.
Yes.
You know,
no,
being abused or anything, but not everybody's a parent. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Everybody's got those parenting skills. But I think, Sam, this has been a great learning curve. I think we've all learned something from each other and also contributed something, and from the people, God bless them, who are writing in and texting in as well. So all good.
Do you know, Julie, I thank you so much for that closing, because I'm going to take that closing and I'm going to, hi Herbie, I'm going to say, everybody, let's wave goodbye. Thank everybody for coming. We're going to end with a commercial break today. And thank you one more time. We'll be back next week, Thursday at 8 p.m. with the Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest Show. And I do believe the next topic is definitely going to be around, you know, they say that Black people, ethnic minority people, are more susceptible to COVID-19. I think that's going to be a juicy topic all in itself. But let's go to the ad breaks right about now and see what is going on. Hi, join please, me, can Samantha everybody Scott, mute your every mics? Thursday at 8 p.m. for the Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest. There we go. Thank We you. discuss some serious topics here which may be a little uncomfortable to discuss. However, the aim of the show is educational. It is interactive. You can join us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live via chat. You can also let us know that you want to join on the panel and be seen and heard. We look forward to seeing you every Thursday at 8 p.m. here for the Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest Show.
What do the new power generation, Rochelle Farrell, and Mint Condition all have in common? They've all been guests on the Wayne Picard radio show Black in 3D on k2kradio.com, London and worldwide. If you want to check out my Listen Again page, go on to mixcloud.com/Black in 3D. The coolest show on the planet, the Wayne Picard radio show Black in 3D. Peace.
Hi, my name's Claudette, and I make jewellery for Jamela Gems. I make jewellery using semi-precious stones and sterling silver. You can find Jamela Gems on Facebook, Etsy, and Twitter. Come and look me up. Jamela Gems. I make jewellery with your well-being in mind.
Oi, oi! Join me, Rudy Liquid, for Rudy Liquid's early morning bants. Bright and early in the morning at 8:15 when the kids have gone to school and you ain't got nothing much to do. Why not tune into me live? I've got a show that's driven by early morning comments from you. All of them are topical in nature. We have some lively banter. I had a few clips by going into your Facebook profiles and coming back with bits and pieces like this. And this. Maybe even a bit of this. So that's early in the morning at 8:15 a.m. We do that alongside some serious debate. Okay. I also have a show on a Monday evening. It's called Keeping It Real. Oi, 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 as it is titled upstairs. Keeping It Real with Rudy Liquid. It's a chat show that I do on a Monday evening at 8:30 p.m. So tune in.
Hello, my name is Lindsay Wesker and I am a writer. I've written 3 novels, and as I've been in the music industry since 1981, it won't surprise you to know that all of my novels are based in the music industry. All 3 novels are available now via Amazon, and I hope you'll buy one and enjoy it.
Hi, join me every Thursday at 8 p.m. for the Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest show. It's interactive. Don't forget, join us every Thursday for the Pick a Topic with Sam and Guest show at 8 p.m.
Something ain't right when your actions don't support what you're saying. You say I'm number one, but you were out almost 24/7. I had to say goodbye, 'cause I see